something I've been thinking about. We've been talking a lot about what the Niners have to do to put themselves in the best position to win a Super Bowl this year. And they do have a shot in the sense that I think the NFC is wide open. But you've pointed this out too. Them winning a Super Bowl this year, they'd have to do something no team has ever done, one way or another, right? You either have to do it with the most expensive quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl or the youngest quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl. One of the two things. So they could do it. I mean, there's always time for first. But it seems to me it's pretty obvious that the best opportunity the Niners have to win a Super Bowl is next year. And that while they may have a good opportunity this year, they have a golden freaking opportunity next year. Let's just go through it real quick. Brady will be 45. Rodgers will be, I don't even know what like, he'll be 38 and maybe in the AFC, maybe retired. Russell Wilson, his cap number will be 37 million. Patrick Mahomes' cap number will be 35. And then you'll have Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson hitting their second contracts. Meanwhile, the Niners have, here's their crew of guys on rookie deals. Starters, Lance, Sermon, Debo, Ayuk, potentially the two guards, Banks and Moore. But let's just say Banks and then Bosa, Kinlaw, Greenlaw. That's 8 guys. That's a good team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an excellent team. And then, I understand the only negative is the secondary, but even there, that's why they went out and got Ambry Thomas and Diamador Lenore. And, if those rookies are able to come along, it might not be that big of an issue in the secondary. So they've kind of built up some really good depth to sustain them through what's going to be a little bit of an exodus after this year because of the one-year contracts. Yeah,
so it'll be Trey Lance in his second year. Most likely he'll probably have some experience. He won't be the youngest quarterback of all time to do this. And there's precedent of guys going to the Super Bowl their second year. Russell Wilson won it the second year. And I think what's interesting is if you compare the Kyle Shanahan timeline to the Bill Walsh timeline, it's very similar. The main difference is Walsh won the Super Bowl. Kyle lost it. But the next year, Walsh had to lose. I wasn't alive, but I was checking it out. There was a weird year. There was a strike year, and he was 3-6, kind of like last year with the pandemic. And then they come back the next year, 10-6. They lose in the NFC Championship to Washington.
Yeah.
And then the next year they go 15-1. So if we're staying on the Bill Walsh timeline, next year 2022 would be the 1984 year, where everything clicks and you have a juggernaut. They could potentially have a juggernaut in 2022 if Lance is the real deal.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree with you when you look at the quarterback situation. You mentioned the Garoppolo. Garoppolo has two things going against him. He has as far as winning the Super Bowl, he has the fact that his cap hit so high. And the second one is the only guys that have ever lost in their first start and come back and actually won it are guys that are in the Hall of Fame. And there's no way anybody's going to think of Jimmy Garoppolo as a Hall of Famer.
Right. We're talking who? We're talking John Elway.
Yeah. There's John Elway. There was one other one as well.
There's like one other guy, right?
I think Bob Gracie.
There you go.
Lost his first one and won the other one. And as far as Fran Tarkenton and Jim Kelly are basically the only other two guys that have done it where they've lost the first time and come back. The only other one is Craig Morton. He's the only one that's not in the Hall of Fame that's lost and then come back because he lost one with Dallas and then he lost one with Denver. Of
course, there's Brady who's lost 3, but he's also won 7. So.
Yeah. Well, he won his first one, so that's true.
I see what you're saying.
The first start.
Yeah, I got it. Okay. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, and I definitely think 2022 is the year. I think everything points to them being able to take it in 2022. There's just so much change. So much is going to change between now and then. The Rams, it'll be interesting to see what happens down in LA too.
Right.
With their whole roster.
They're going to be good. Cardinals are still going to be good. The division's still going to be good. But knowing that the Niners should be at their peak in 2022, injuries notwithstanding, it'd be interesting if they do get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo, if they decide the best use is to roll it over the cap space. I could see it. It would sort of supercharge that run in 2022, right?
Yeah, it would definitely help. I mean, I don't know if there's a whole lot of savings if you do it now and have it roll over. You have to look at all the numbers, but it doesn't matter. You're right. Either way, he's not going to be on the roster, and that's going to be somewhere between around $25 million extra on their cap when they get rid of him after this year, if that's what they do.
Salasafati says, some say that Shanahan broke Jim. He was a gunslinger who made off-schedule plays in 2017. Shanahan is all about his system. Should we worry with Lance?
I think the thing with Garoppolo is I think he's always kind of struggled with. He's just kind of struggling with playing his game. When he first came in, he didn't have any pressure. He had nothing to lose when he showed up in 2017. He was the team was terrible. There were no expectations. They'd only won one game, and he was just out there playing. He didn't know what he wasn't supposed to know, and so he's just out there playing. And then he gets the big contract in the offseason, and those 5 wins, everybody's saying now the Niners are supposed to be a playoff team, and so he's got a ton of pressure on him, and it just went bad from week 1. And the team around him wasn't nearly as good as people thought anyway, which is all plays into that five game win streak at the end of the season.
Also, I don't think Shanahan's issue with Jimmy was that he made off-schedule plays. I think they like the off-schedule plays. That's a nice bonus, and it's not like Jimmy would abandon pockets to run around. Like, he did it when he had to, and he was pretty good at it. And when he started, I felt like in 2018 before he got hurt, the gunshot Jimmy thing was all about the turnovers. Kyle was not okay with Jimmy Garoppolo just throwing the ball to the other team here and there and playing like he was Brett Favre. He wanted him to actually not turn the ball over, which I thought was a fair request. And I think that's when we saw Jimmy kind of lose his confidence. And then what really hurt his confidence was the knee injury. I mean, more than anything. So that's what I would say with that one.
Right.
Like Lance, they're not going to – I don't think they're going to have to try to rein in the turnovers with Lance. Lance is actually more of a game manager than a gunslinger. I mean, he has a strong arm, but he's not just going to be reckless on the field. He won't, from what I've seen.
No, he's not. He's not that type of a player at all. He's the opposite. They're going to have to get him, I think, at times to take shots when he's not taking. I think that's where the issue is going to be between him and Shanahan is there's going to be shots that he's not going to take that he should at times.
And I don't think he's going to pass up open receivers so he can scramble around. I haven't seen him be that kind of quarterback. I think he's going to be the kind of guy like when the pocket breaks down, when there's a guy in his face, he can break a tackle. He can make a guy miss. He can extend the play as a last resort, but he doesn't seem like he doesn't seem like a run first quarterback from what I've seen.
No, he's not. He's definitely not a run first quarterback. He's a guy that's looking to throw, and it's the throw always the run always comes after you've seen him look, and then it's always 1, 2, 3, or 4 before he takes off. Yeah, so he's definitely not a hit the back foot takeoff kind of guy. Yeah,
agree. As opposed to maybe as Kyler Murray or Lamar Jackson. At times. Right. Isaac Hartman says, this might be too far away, but if we roll over the cap, are there any big difference makers in free agency that we could use that cap on, besides Fred? Oh, I mean, you paid me $5. The least I could do is look it up. Hold on. 2012 NFL free agents. Well, let me just check out real quick who the top guys are. It's a fair question. Okay. All right. Hold on. Oh, now my internet is working. Yep. All right, here we go. Von Miller, Brandon Scherf, Allen Robinson, Chandler Jones, Chris Godwin. Oh, that's nice. Dante Fowler, Devontae Adams, Tyrann Mathieu, Cam Robinson, Taylor Moton, Stephon Gilmore, Teron Armstead, Calais Campbell, Jason Pierre-Paul, Taysom Hill. That's some good players out there.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some, definitely, from what it sounds like. I mean, Stephon Gilmore is the guy who we're talking about. We've talked about they should maybe try to trade for and give up stuff. Next year they can get him for nothing. He's going to be expensive because he's a free agent. But if you have that's the kind of signing that you can make. If you have a quarterback on a rookie deal, you can make a pick like that. That's definitely one that would be interesting.
Yeah. Good question. So there definitely are a bunch of people. Just Google 2012 NFL free agents and check out the top 20 guys. Though, I mean, it seems to me if the Niners start Trey Lance for half the season, all the season, and he's exciting, and they win, a lot of people are going to want to sign on this team next year, even though it's in Santa Clara and the taxes are high.
Yeah, if he can do it all year long, and I think you're right. I think they're going to have to obviously overpay a little bit because it's California, but yeah, they can make that work because I think that's a different situation than 2018 where Garoppolo had won the 5 games. But you could, if you really looked at that team after 17, you knew they weren't going to be necessarily a top level team in 2018. Their defense wasn't quite where it needed to be, right? They were still a year off at that point. And the smart free agents, I think, saw that. And that's part of why
Yes.
they weren't
They went to
able
the
really
Rams.
bring any. Uh-huh.
Remember, Aqib Talib said, no, I want to go to the Rams.
Yep.
Right?
But yes. And I think if you look at them, though, going into 2022, if Lance goes out and plays really good all throughout the year, the team already is going to have a really solid base, and you're looking at just adding guys, just the icing on top of the team. That's when you get that big free agent, like the Deion Sanders in 19.
Yup.
Yeah, like a Deion Sanders in 1994 kind of deal, that kind of thing. That's when your team is right there and they know you just need to push them over the edge. So that's when you get those kind of guys.
Ever since I've been covering the team, 2011, the Niners have not been a free agent destination, right? And they know it. Like they'll go after guys at the end of free agency, guys who are injured, guys coming off bad years. They always do this kind of stuff. But the one way they can become a free agent destination is a guy like Lance, young quarterback.
Yeah. Young quarterback that's on a rookie deal that gives you the money to spend, where you can kind of splurge in areas that you can. Having a quarterback like Lance on a rookie deal allows you to make some irresponsible decisions financially,
like Trent Williams, like Eric Armstead.
Like Trent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like those contracts aren't a problem anymore if they're like playing up to expectations and Trey Lance is the quarterback. Go ahead and pay Eric Armstead $20 million a year so he can set the edge. Fine, it's a hell of an edge. Did you see that edge? What an edge!
He set the heck out of that edge.
He set the heck out of that edge.